Hey Star Wars fans, Cody here with Star Wars Doctrine. This is our Clone Wars Season 7 show, Clone Wars and Chill. Thank you so much for checking it out today. I do appreciate the support. Basically, we just discuss everything there is to discuss about every episode of Clone Wars Season 7 as they come out. And recently we got Episode 5, Gone with a Trace, which opens up the arc for Ahsoka. Finally past the Bad Batch arc and moving into something that I think is going to be even more exciting. Learning a little bit more about Ahsoka and where she left off. Obviously, we left off with Ahsoka, the Jedi Order having framed her for a bombing by one of her good friends, and she's forced to go on the run. Obviously, we know she gets her name cleared and they want her back in the Order, but she really feels like she just doesn't belong anymore, that there isn't trust there anymore, and that she can't be around these people who wouldn't believe in her. Because realistically, Anakin was the only one who spoke up and believed in her. So that's where we left off, and that's pretty much what we've known about Ahsoka from this point forward, up until like we see her in the Ahsoka novel or Rebels. So it's really exciting to get her back on screen. Of course, she's such a fan favorite and someone who holds the hearts of a lot of Star Wars and Clone Wars fans. The little fortune cookie from this episode says, "If there is no path before you, create your own." And I think that's the perfect quote to describe Ahsoka. I absolutely love these fortune cookies at the beginning of every episode. Love sharing them with you guys and talking about them with y'all because they always just tie in so well. And this one I think is specifically talking about Ahsoka only having known one way of life, and that's the Jedi Order. She's had orders. She's had teachers and people guiding her in a strict way to live her life pretty much since she can remember. And now, everything's kind of out the window, and there's no rules. There's no one to tell her what to do. She doesn't have guaranteed food or shelter. She just kind of on her own trying to figure out what she wants to do with the rest of her life. Who is Ahsoka beyond the Jedi Order? And that results in her having to create her own path. So that's what we start off with in this episode. And then we open up to a scene where we see her on a speeder bike that's obviously a pretty crappy, broken down speeder bike. And it fails on her, and she ends up landing next to someone who's going to be her friend / partner through the rest of the episode, whose name is Trace Martez. I thought it was interesting because Gone with the Trace is the episode. Her name's Trace. But she basically says, "I have a shop," and she's trying to get money out of Ahsoka, but she says that she can fix her speeder bike up there. And so Ahsoka kind of sets up shop there to fix up her stuff. And next thing you know, there's some bad guys trying to beat her up because her sister owes them lots of money. And that's kind of where the episode goes. One of the coolest little nuggets of information I got out of this episode was the mention of 1313. Trace says that that's where they're at right now is in 1313, which is a kind of a nostalgic term for a lot of Star Wars fans. 1313 is a level on Coruscant. And originally there was actually going to be a video game called 1313. LucasArts had it in development before Disney took over and actually shut it down. And it was supposed to be all about the scum and villainy, gangsters, Boba Fett, bounty hunter type of characters, and everything that went on underground Coruscant on this level 1313. So the fact that we got, Dave Filoni putting that in here was just a really cool nod to that and kind of exciting to hear for me, and I'm sure for you guys and a lot of other Star Wars fans as well. So one thing I thought was interesting is that Trace mentions how much she hates the Jedi and that she blames them for starting the Clone Wars, and basically is saying like the Jedi ruined Coruscant, so she doesn't want to be on Coruscant. She wants her and her sister to leave, and it kind of gives you an interesting perspective on how the galaxy viewed the Jedi. I was talking with one of our friends who said it kind of makes sense, because I've often wondered why, if the Jedi had such a good reputation around the galaxy, when Palpatine said that they turned evil and tried to kill him, why didn't anybody question that? We do know that in the books and novels he used a little bit of persuasion with recordings and stuff like that, but outside of that, it was interesting to see that maybe not every person viewed the Jedis as heroes. And they obviously were. They were trying to do their best to help and everything like that. But there was some people who didn't really, maybe had never met a Jedi, maybe didn't know kind of their goodness and the help that they do give to the galaxy. They might have had bad perceptions of who the Jedi were, and all they knew of them as was these soldiers who were in this war, and that's kind of a sad way to hear that, especially for Ahsoka here in this episode, where she, is used to being looked at as this hero who saved lots of lives and done a lot of good for the galaxy. But to hear someone on the Jedi planet of Coruscant saying that they don't like the Jedi, they don't approve of what they're doing, and that they're better off without them kind of situation. So you can understand maybe a little bit why some people weren't too resistant of Palpatine saying the Jedi were evil and that they were behind everything. There's some people didn't necessarily believe the Jedi were heroes anyways. So, but back into the original storyline here is that obviously her sister owes this gangster who is Pintu Son-El, or if I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but she owes lots of money, and so she's trying to come up with different ways to earn this money, which is how we get involved with these droids that are going to be the main problem of this episode, where Ahsoka is faced with these demolition droids that she's actually fought before in a Forces of Destiny episode, and so she recognizes them as dangerous and what they really are. And of course they have to chase it all around 1313 streets and end up both almost dying, but Ahsoka uses the Force and is able to save them and get that droid back. The interesting thing about that too was Ahsoka was very sneaky with how she used the Force. She was trying to not let it be known that she was a Force user or Jedi, and I think that's just because she didn't really want to advertise that, that she was a Jedi to people, especially if people in 1313 didn't like the Jedi or weren't fans. It's not like this is post-Order 66. It's not like she's going to get arrested and killed for being a Jedi. It's just she'd rather not advertise what she is. That's the basic gist of the episode. Ultimately, when the new arcs start, I kind of just expect a introduction to some characters. This is where we left off. Here's another friend that she might run into later down the road. This is where she's living now, and that kind of thing. It wasn't anything overall that's going to really affect the plot, I don't think. Maybe other than, the sisters that she kind of made friends with / enemies. Maybe they'll pop up again. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But outside of that, it was more just an opener episode, and a lot of fun, though, just to see Ahsoka back on screen. The most touching and absolutely my favorite part of the entire episode was when she's asked how she learned to fight, and she says, my older brother taught me. I had a good teacher in my older brother, and that was just like super cute because it showed that she looked at Anakin like her older brother, and even to this day, she still has these fond memories of him and misses him, and it's just really cool to me to see that she looks at him like an older brother, have someone say that. Also, really tired of all the people out there who for some reason try to say that Anakin and Ahsoka had a love or a romance together, when first of all, just not even close to the truth, because Anakin is obviously clearly in love and obsessed with Padme, but also just because the weirdness and age gap and Ahsoka being underage, it's just weird to me. And this was like a very direct, I look at him as my brother. He is my family, my older brother. And that was just an awesome thing because it was special, because obviously that's nostalgic, and also just like hey, I'm laying down the law here. This is how it is, and I appreciated that, and I liked that quite a bit. So that's pretty much a wrap on this episode. Go ahead and check out the other episode reviews if you haven't already. Also, give this video a like and subscribe so you can see future Star Wars content from us here at Star Wars Doctrine. Really am so thankful for the support. And until next time, may the Force be with you.